Want to master your inner world, one of the first things you got to start figuring out is how your ego mind is tricking you. This thing is, it's like a masochist, man. It is amazing how it will beat you up and it will expel your life force and it will utilize and cause you, I think of it like, I've got a jar of money and that life force energy, I can burn it up in my mind with all the things that my ego wants me to chase after, or I can let that life force move into my body and start busting through subconscious blocks and allowing for more flow in my being and for health and to, digest my food and to restore. And I would much rather have my life force energy spent there so that I can be vibrant in my day-to-day life. But the ego is a trickster. And today, I want to share with you the number one trick, the number one thing that it is doing on a daily basis. I mean, sometimes on an hourly basis, where it is causing stress. It's causing you to have an internal dialogue that's not helpful, that is a waste of that money, that life force, and isn't going to get you anywhere. So, what is the ego doing? Resisting what is present. Let me explain this to you. So long as you are in resistance to what is present, you will not have access to peace. Your life force energy is going to be spun off into some dialogue about how things should have been, could have been, ought to have been, that you don't deserve this, that that person shouldn't have done that. And this whole dialogue, and as right as you might be, it doesn't change the fact of now. Now has shown up. Life has shown up in all of the ways and all the crazy connections that had to happen. It showed up in the way that it showed up. You're in traffic. Your plane is delayed. Someone forgot that they were supposed to be meeting with you. Whatever it might be. And this happens, and it's not the way that you wanted life to go. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but life has no allegiance to your plans, right? It's just doing its thing. And we want it to be a certain way. So we resist when life shows up in a way that we don't like. And in doing that, we create a lot of inner stress. So let's use a very simple example that we've all been in. We're sitting in traffic and we're supposed to be at a meeting. You're supposed to get your hair cut, supposed to pick up your kids, supposed to be meeting your girlfriend for coffee, whatever it is, right? Presentation at work. You're sitting there and there's traffic. Now, of course, we have the first response of, oh gosh, not now, and this inner dialogue that just starts. But if you continue to resist the fact that you're in traffic, you're never going to get to a space of calm. You're going to be in traffic and stressed out. You're going to be in the dialogue of, I can't believe this is happening. This shouldn't be happening of all days, not today. I can't believe this. What am I going to do? I don't deserve this. La, 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 la. On and on and on it goes. And the ego just loves its story and it feels so justified because maybe it's right. Maybe if you had just left 5 minutes earlier, maybe if, your child had found their shoes and like you had told them the night before to put them out, like you would have been in the car faster and would have missed this accident, whatever it might be, as right as you are, it doesn't change the fact that traffic's here now. And if you can just accept that the traffic's here, then from a place of inner calm, without creating more stress, without spending useless money on depleting your life force, right? If you can just accept, well, it is as it is, the traffic is here. Now from this space, you can start to figure out, all right, well, is there any action I can take? Can I take an exit? Can I make a phone call? Can I start the meeting, over the phone? Can I reschedule? What can be done? All right, traffic is simple. Right? A missed flight when you're supposed to be somewhere else, that's harder, or a delayed flight. All right, there's going to be things that will happen on a daily basis, probably an hourly basis, that are unfolding in a way that your ego mind does not like. And you start to get into and you start to believe the story about how justified you are and how they should have just done it differently. And if they had just done it differently, we wouldn't be in this situation. And you get lit up about it. Sometimes you scream about it. Right? You get angry about it. You let it boil inside of you. Whatever it is, you're creating stress in your system. It's pointless. Life has already shown up that way. It already is as it is. There's no point in resisting it. There's no point in looking back and, well, why did it happen? And this, that, and the other thing. It just is. It just is. And so if you can just learn to accept it, it doesn't mean you condone it. And I think this is where most people fall flat because they go, well, if I just accepted everything, I'd be a doormat. People would walk all over me. Injustices would never be corrected. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can act and you can exert your desires into the world, but you don't have to have inner stress when you do it. You don't need to be in resistance to now. So let's say there is some animal that you love, right? Elephants, my favorite animal, are being poached for their tusks. And you're like lit up about it. And this isn't fair. It's not justified. Somebody should be doing something. You're getting upset. You're crying. You're screaming. Whatever it is, you're resisting that it's happening. It's already happening. Out of your control. These things are going on. And I'm not saying you condone it and do nothing. I'm saying if you're resisting it and upset, number one, your inner world is going to have some problems. You might get yourself sick. Number two, you're going to be a mess in any interaction with anybody in this space. No one wants to deal with an emotional, crazy person, right? So what can you do? Accept it. It is. It's not right. It's not wrong. You don't condone it. You're not okay with it. It just is. So now, what can I do? From a place of calm, from a place of inner peace, from a grounded space, what action can I take? And when you're in a grounded space, not having some emotional triggered reaction, you're a lot easier to deal with. You can actually get a lot more done. People want to deal with you. They might listen differently. You can maybe get, a force behind you to work with you, but no one wants to work with just some crazy, irrational person. You want to be grounded. You want to accept what is in front of you exactly as it is. I promise the ego has a way of just continuing to resist, feeling justified in resisting. It's amazing to watch. After my car accident, I resisted for over a year. I was like, this isn't fair. It shouldn't have been. I didn't deserve this. And the people around me were the same thing. That guy was drunk. That shouldn't have happened to you. That's not the way that society should operate, right? That shouldn't be allowed. As right as we all were, it didn't change the fact that the accident had happened and I had a traumatic brain injury, couldn't work, and was sick. It wasn't changing reality, but it was creating a lot of anxiety inside of me. It was creating panic attacks. It was creating PTSD. I was depressed. It was creating a lot of inner turmoil. And it wasn't until my doctor said to me, Danielle, your body has done all the healing it's going to do. And this is your new normal. And you need to adjust your life around it. And I had the inner response of, heck no, I'm getting better, which I did. But it also kind of punched me in the gut and went, hang on a second. If these physical symptoms aren't going anywhere, I have got to do something about the mental, emotional space inside of me because it is driving me crazy. I'm like a basket case. I was literally having panic attacks that I would soak my shirt. I'd be crying too much because I was resisting my reality and I was feeling like a victim. And being in victimhood is very disempowering, but the ego doesn't care. The ego just collapsed into that identity. Well, I am a victim, right? And it felt justified in being a victim, and other people were validating that it was a victim. And so it had its identity. The ego does not care if that identity is causing you pain. Understand me. It doesn't care. It just needs to identify with something. And so I just said, enough is enough. I'm going to accept that this is my reality. I'm going to figure out what the new rules that have been put on life. How can I win? How can I win the game? And the winning the game for me was, how do I find joy? How do I find happiness? How do I find something each and every day to be grateful for? And I started to just get rid of all the negative thoughts. I wouldn't allow them. I would just look for the things I could be grateful for. Maybe it was just the strawberries in my salad that day were delicious. I got to see the sunset. That was amazing. My dog, gave me a kiss and wagged its tail and made me smile. Whatever it was, I found something. And by accepting my reality that, okay, I was in this situation, there were new rules on my life, right? This health diagnosis was here right now, maybe just a speed bump, not forever, but it was here. I started to get my inner world right. Depression went away, anxiety went away. I started to have inner calm. That's when I started to master the inner dimension. That's when I realized the power of saying, ego, you're not helpful right now. We're not going down that rabbit hole. I don't want to go there. Right? I'm going to just accept life as it is, and I'm going to choose which thoughts to listen to and which not to, where to spend my money and where not to. And I'll tell you what, when your life force can get freed up from the mind and go into the body, massive healing can happen. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. A little trick of the ego. I'll be sharing many, many more because if you want to master your inner world, if you want to get mastery of this inner domain, the inner dimension of life, you've got to realize the tricks that are being played on you. And that you have a say. You don't always have to listen, all right? You are more than your thoughts. Remember that. If I teach you nothing else, that is number one. You can choose to give them energy or you can choose not to. So thanks for tuning in today. I look forward to chatting with you. If you want to reach out direct to me, you can always email me.